welcome to Wine Down with Kev, Season 5, Episode 3. So happy to be here. I have an amazing guest lined up for you today. First, before I jump in and introduce you to my guest, let me thank you all for subscribing to my YouTube channel, Wine Down with Kev. 2023 has been an amazing year for me. I thank you for tuning in to see Greg Gray, the incredible author, Justin Burns, the CEO. I have been traveling all summer. This year has taken me to Cancun, to InvestFest, to Vegas, to Orlando, all over the world, meeting amazing people. And I can't wait to bring them back to you on this podcast and let you get to see how amazing and awesome they are. So I'm so happy to be back at home to New York today, recording and working with an incredible person, Miss Acquania Escarne. Talk to the people, introduce yourself, tell them who you are.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Kevin. This is such an exciting opportunity to share my story. I am Acquania Escarne, the creator and founder of The Purpose of Money, a platform that helps women build generational wealth $1 at a time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You better say that. You better say that. So I love your platform and I love just the name of it. The purpose of money. Everybody always has their head down. We're working for the next dollar. But Acquania, we do not talk about the purpose of money. What is the purpose of money?
So actually, I believe if the answer varies based on who you're asking. And my perspective is everyone can use money as a tool to accomplish different goals. Most people, however, on my podcast are pursuing freedom and the ability to control their time. So they want to do what I do a lot, which is travel and have a flexible, work optional lifestyle. But money can also be a vehicle that you use to build wealth. It could be how you manage your day-to-day expenses and your essentials. It's really up to you on how you use it. But my goal and my mission is to teach you good, solid financial literacy tools that you can execute over and over again. And believe it or not, becoming a millionaire doesn't have to be sexy or scandalous or crazy. It's really, we did it through simplicity, right? Saving, investing, getting life insurance, all of those things. So we can talk more about the specifics, but the purpose is depending on what your passion is.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you said we did it through simplicity. So define the we for audience and becoming a millionaire. So y'all pay attention, get your pens and paper. How did we do it simply? Talk to the people about that.
Yeah. So my husband and I, that's how we were married 15 years ago, but we're together for 5 years while we were dating. And the year before we got married, my husband proposed and we shopped around for financial advisors who could help us get on the same page financially. My husband was one who didn't really grow up with a lot of money and knew that he was supposed to pay his bills, but he had no idea about investing. And I am someone who, my dad gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad at 16. I read it cover to cover and I started saving for retirement in high school. So we were coming from very different perspectives when it came to money. I also didn't grow up in the wealthiest household, but the money I had, it went a long way because I learned even at 16, I didn't want to work forever. And I knew that saving for retirement early would help accomplish that goal. So when we got married, I knew that I didn't want to be his teacher only because I didn't want that to be a topic of tension. And I knew that we needed someone who was patient and education first. So we shopped around, we interviewed a couple of people and ended up going with a young lady who helped us establish a solid foundation. And so what is a solid foundation? First of all, a budget. Secondly, money that went towards saving and investing every single month. We got life insurance. Even though we weren't married yet, we knew that the other person would have a financial loss if the other person passed away too soon. We were living in a condo that had a mortgage and we wanted to have a family one day. And while we were young and healthy, we got life insurance that we chose permanent insurance that protects you and builds wealth. But honestly, if we couldn't afford it at the time, we would have gotten term because we knew we needed to make sure the other spouse would be able to take care of the house, take care of things that needed to be done. And we were also new in our careers. So the advisor helped me understand how much to put towards retirement, how much to put towards tax-free vehicles like a Roth IRA and other things. So that really helped us set it and forget it, honestly. Once we set up the amounts and then we adapted a discipline of every time we got raises, we would just increase what we were doing, but we didn't change what we were doing. We didn't try to cash out stocks after we made a profit. We didn't try to move around money because I had a bad dream about, a company or any of that stuff. We really said to ourselves, we want to build wealth and these are the amounts we can afford monthly. So over time, we really learned that we are strategy savers. We are good savers and investors. And we love when we can break it down monthly. Whereas, some people think I got to have $20,000 before I can start to invest, or I have to have, $50,000 until I can buy a home. And some people may never understand how to get to those numbers, right? We said, I got to have $100, right? to put into my accounts every single month, and then went up from there. So that's the simple, not so sexy way to build wealth.
Well, there is something about it. There's so much to unpack there. You gave a really rich answer that I have to dig into a little,
please.
Because some people that's listening to it, they're listening to your dad giving you the book that I also gave to my son at a similar age, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Read that because that gives you a certain mindset about money. The second thing is you and your husband, you said 20 years ago, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you exactly at that time? Because I need the young people to lock in on this to understand that there's more to it than emotions, that you need to have that conversation. So how young were you to be able to bring that conversation to your husband? I feel about you like you feel about me. But before we go all the way, let's talk about money. How old were you at the time? Let's date it.
So I was 24 and he was 27.
Outstanding.
And we, that was really important. Once he proposed, it was a matter of, well, what are our community family goals and what are the things that we know we need to get right? And finances was number one on the list because finances is what tends to break apart marriages. 50% of marriages end in divorce and they're fighting over financial issues. And we just didn't want to be anywhere near those statistics. We also had the pressure of being, hopefully at that time, we weren't married yet, but knowing that there were no successful marriages in our immediate future, family. I don't have any siblings, but my parents divorced when I was 1. And at that time, neither one of them were remarried. My dad has remarried 3 times now. So that tells you, and he's not married now. So that tells you the pattern that we'd seen, right? And then my husband's mom, his father passed away when he was 12 and then remarried briefly as an adult, but not married now either. So we really struggled to have that example. Yes, one of my aunts is still married. I think she's going 50 years. So she was my example. And at the time, my husband didn't have any in his family. So it was just a goal to let's avoid the statistics. We know what the challenges are. We also are new in our career, so it was an optimal time to talk about money and make sure that we started off our benefits right. So that's how we sparked the conversation. I mean, if you want to marry somebody, you should be able to have money conversations. To me, that's like marriage 101. If you can't talk about money,
conversation. You have to talk about it when you have it, when you don't. Because that's the quiet stress that gets to folks and makes folks act out. Well, let's get back to the money, but that's wisdom that you had to share. I love how you shared your wisdom from your dad. You guys created your own example. You got away from, if it's not wrong for me to say it, generational curses of divorces, generational wealth. And now here you are setting that example for others. Your bio and your IG page, let me get it right. It says helping Black women build wealth through life insurance and real estate investing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody knows about real estate, that is one of the number one ways to accumulate wealth in this country. See
Mm-hmm.
Dad, Poor Dad for any questions. Talk to me about why you have life insurance there.
Well, first of all, that's how I got into the money space. In 2016, 2015, I started a savings challenge when I read an article that most Americans don't have $500 saved for an emergency. So that is the amount of money it takes to wreck a budget and sometimes get families into payday loans they don't really want or need, but that's all they have, or significant credit card debt. So when I saw that statistic, I said, let me help people save $500. Then, when that went really well, I said, let me become a freelance writer so I could talk about more money topics. Nailed that, found an amazing person to write for and wrote for that magazine for 5 years and then expanded to other platforms as well. But 2016, my financial advisor said, you like to teach people and talk about money, and I think you should do it and get compensated in some way. Why not get life license and then later maybe security? So I said, oh, well, let me see. And I buckled down, studied like I was back in high school, aced the test, and then started selling life insurance. And I really chose life insurance over going straight to securities because I saw GoFundMe accounts for people of color to pay for funerals. And I knew that life insurance is cheap. I knew that you could get $20, $30 policies for some people and it'll pay out thousands. So why are we doing pass the hat or now GoFundMe on websites to pay for funerals? And that became a mission that I just kind of leveled. But truth be told, it wasn't just about funerals. It was also, again, sharing my personal story. So, remember I said my husband and I got life insurance and we were in a financial position to get permanent life insurance, which is the kind that doesn't expire, the kind that builds cash value, the kind that can be borrowed against. And we did just that. So in addition to wanting to help others, I also wanted to share my story on how we took 40K out of life insurance and in 1 year bought 3 properties. And that helped us get on track to financial freedom because yes, saving, investing the slow, sexy way, not so sexy way is great, but real estate has made millions of millionaires and continues to do so. And we knew the passive income, the appreciation that comes with owning real estate was something we wanted to take advantage of as well. So 2016, we locked in our primary home, a rental, and helped my mother-in-law get a home that she could live in throughout retirement, and really just kind of put our head down and just kept investing. Now my portfolio has grown to include apartments, subdivisions, and hotels, but it started with one rental. So
I got to use a timeout right there. I got
yes,
to use
that's
a
I was gonna
timeout
stop.
right there. You brought it up. I was waiting. That was a later question. But let's talk about the hotel. You said hotels plural, but what I
Yes.
read about was hotel singular. And if I have the value correct, did I see it at 34 million?
Yes, my real estate portfolio is about 34 million, but that does include 2 hotel properties, 354 apartments, one rental in Maryland, which is random, I know, and then primary residence. So there's a lot of real estate in there. And it all was built over time. That's another thing I tell people is like I started out with saving, investing through my job and then outside of my job and then leveraging life insurance. And now I have the freedom to do more of what I want when I want and continue to build on that portfolio. So yes, we are at 34 and I am ecstatic because 2024 is going to be even bigger.
I love it. You're comfortably in that 8 figure. You didn't just cross over. You're comfortably there and go with forward. So let's
Mhm.
dial back a little bit. You have referenced your job that you started at, your husband started at, and you're saving and investing. Some people might be listeners thinking that you had a big $1 million job to start with, but I think I read you work for the federal government. What was your job
Mhm.
exactly?
I was a U.S. diplomat for the United States for 15 years, and I started out making $59,000 a year.
Okay. Okay.
So to
Not,
put that in
not
perspective,
exactly
in
the direct
Washington,
path to 34 million.
and in Washington D.C., like, listen, people think everybody's making six figures. I was not. And my husband was pretty much near me around 60, 55, 60 at the same time. So yeah, combined, we might have hit six figures, but we were at that time America's average salary for most adults. So yeah, we were stretching every penny to invest in retirement accounts at that age, to pay off student loans. I had student loans at that age, in addition to investing and saving.
I think that gives you so much relatability and connectivity because you did it the natural way. You went to school. If you
Mm-hmm.
had student loans, that means you had to borrow to get there, and you started off at an average salary. And I think 20 years is a very short period of time. I'm a student of studying everything online. I'm watching everyone give the appearance of overnight success. The grays in my beard tells me that's not realistic. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about the slow and steady life.
Mm-hmm.
The common bond that you and I have is that we are in night school together. We are in
Yes.
both mastermind together. We are both learning in a very similar space. I'm trying to learn and understand just how online education works because I have a passion for teaching people. Like you, I'm in the insurance business. I'm trying to invite more people into this profession because I think it's a very lucrative profession that many people in government jobs or education positions would excel in, and that they should put at least one toe in the water without leaving their day job. Let's have some
Mm-hmm.
success. What are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts on that?
I completely agree. I had a government job for 15 years, and the last 5 years also ran a life insurance business. And then 3 years before I left, started an email marketing business. So I definitely believe in the power of side hustles. Those side hustles have allowed me to leave my job and quote unquote retire. Because honestly, I reached a breaking point where I could not do it all anymore. I was stressing myself out to make my deliverables at work. And I was also stressing myself out to make deliverables to my clients. And I was not happy, like, I feel like health is irreplaceable and priceless. So at the end of the day, I loved my job and what I did. In 15 years, I lived in multiple countries, recruited people to join the government, and expanded the presence of people of color. And that was definitely rewarding, um, especially since, surviving the earthquake in Haiti, helping people evacuate to safety and get their needs met, living 3 years in Dubai, living in Italy, like so many things. But 2023 me had an assignment. God gave me an assignment, and he really made it clear that I needed to move on to my next venture. And I was trying to hold on to that paycheck, and then my health started to be impacted. And so listen, God will push you when you continue to ignore all of the signs. He will push you. And when my health started to deteriorate, I said, absolutely not. We will
Yes,
not do this. And I listened. I just said, you know what? I'm not going to ignore the mission anymore. I had an end date in mind for July of 2023, and my job made a way for me to leave in April.
I love it.
So sometimes you just have to just go out on faith. But with that said, guys, I also saved. I knew I wanted to leave within the next year, and so I was saving to boost our savings. I paid off as much debt as I could before I left, including a loan I'd taken out of my retirement account to invest in real estate. So, like, there's a lot of things that I did to prepare my family's finances. I also paid myself from my business the last 4 months that I was in my job to ensure that my business income could pay my salary. I also prepared my family, like, hey, we might have to adjust certain things while mommy builds her business as a full-time entrepreneur. And so these are some of the things we may cut or uh, uh, decrease so that we can make it all work. So I can't emphasize that enough. Like, yes, I took a leap of faith, but I didn't just quit. I didn't say the Lord gonna take care of it. I set a foundation that allowed us to adjust while I continue to build more revenue in the business. And the most important thing, I took time off. So most people may or may not be in a position to do this, but before I left my job, I requested a month off of no pay. So I had them not pay me, right?
Nice.
And I did my job, my business full time for a month. I planned my schedule. I, processed what that feels like to wake up every day and have to control what you work on. And I gave myself time to be an entrepreneur full time before being a full time entrepreneur. And so I tell you, that was the game changer. That moment of reflection, fasting, and prayer solidified the decision to go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You mentioned being a mommy. Well,
Mhm.
balancing business, investing, traveling, seeing the world. So let's shout your kids out, the ages.
Yeah, I have two boys, 10 and 13. And who I do not envy their days. Life in middle school and elementary school these days is not what it used to be. But I love them. They are my mini me's. I really do think my oldest is mini me and my youngest is my mini husband. But but yeah, we have our boys. I'm the only girl in the house.
That's all right. That's all right. Kobe was a girl dad. That makes you a boy mom. You good.
Hmm.
And you'll be giving them that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Absolutely.
Next for you, where can people find you? Where can they follow you online? Where can they tap into you to get more of this wisdom and just follow your course?
Yeah, absolutely. Thepurposeofmoney.com is my website. And my favorite platform is Instagram. My handle is The Purpose of Money. So check me out there, guys, if you want wealth building tips, strategies, or even email marketing tips. I'm starting to sprinkle those in. But on my website, we can connect. I have a free consultation link. I'll talk through whatever issues you have, and we'll see how I can help.
I love it. What didn't I ask you about? You had so much information. It was so powerful. I feel challenged as an interviewer, podcaster, in that there was something powerful that you said or meant to say that I failed to ask. So if there's anything that I missed, please drop it right now so people don't miss it.
Well, you didn't specifically ask how do you become a hotel owner, but I'm more than
Yeah,
happy to share.
please.
Definitely follow me. I've talked about it on a couple of podcasts, on my podcast, The Purpose of Money. But I'm going to be doing several webinars in the very near future, starting next week. So if you're interested, subscribe to the Purpose of Money newsletter through Instagram or on the website, and we'll definitely make sure you're tuned in because there are different ways to do it, leveraging retirement funds, leveraging life insurance, leveraging your cash. But investing in hotels is a new level that comes with very good rewards. But it is a long-term strategy too. So I'm going to be teaching a lot about that over the next few weeks.
We can't wait to hear about it. So, Aquania, my podcast has been called Wine Down with Kev for 4 seasons. This year, I added a tag to it called the Dream Chaser Podcast. And in this introduction, I said, I'm a dream chaser. That's one of the things you and I have in common. We're in school together chasing a dream. So I want to give you the last comment. What do you want to say to any dream chasers out there, whatever their dream might be it real estate, insurance, travel, whatever the next thing is? I want you to have closing comments to encourage the dream chasers.
Never stop chasing your dream, but hire a mentor so you don't have to pay for mistakes.
Bam. There it is. You already know you must hit the subscribe, like button, notification button. Follow her everywhere at The Purpose of Money. Hope this added value to you, and we'll speak to you soon.